What is up, my peeps? Hey, look, what I'm going to go over in this video today is the two things you absolutely need to get right. If you get these wrong, you are going to mess up. You're not going to make any money. Your advertising is going to suck. Your marketing is going to be garbage. So look, do me a huge favor while you're here. If you are an awesome person, subscribe to my channel, button down on one of these sides of the screen. What I'm going to go over today is the two things you need to do before you ever run any ads, and I'm going to give you the exact way that you can do these things so that you can ensure that you waste less money and you get a better return on your ad spend. Now, with that being said, if you are new to my channel, my name is Jeremy. What I do is I work with real estate agents, loan officers, and a couple of other kinds of businesses here and there, helping them with their advertising online, helping them with their marketing, and helping them to understand how to create content that is actually going to help their customers, that actually gets people saying, man, I really love these people, and builds that culture in your audience. So look, before you ever run ads, if you've run ads before and you haven't had success, the two things I'm about to go over with you are the reasons why your ads have failed in the past or they've done really poorly, right? You just spend a lot of money and you get hardly anything out of it, or you spend a lot of money and you get nothing out of it. So the first thing you need to do before you run any more ads, if you're running ads right now, just go shut them off before you spend any more money. You need to identify who your ideal client is. Now, if I ask you right now, who is your ideal client? You might say to me, well, people who live in this area that make this much money, that have, maybe they're married, so there's two incomes in the household, and you know, they're in this age group. And that's a good thing to know, because you have to know who it is you can actually sell to, right? That's a good thing to know. But that doesn't say anything about the person. So the idea of building out who your ideal client is, you know, if you woke up tomorrow morning and every appointment you had or every customer you dealt with was the exact kind of person that you were just overwhelmingly like grateful. You're just like, I can't even believe I get to work with these kinds of people every single day. The ideal client is a deep understanding of who that person would be. Now, the reason why this is important before I go any further on this is, you know, you might be saying, well, that's great, Jeremy, but I can't just imagine a customer and it's going to happen. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. And I'm going to go over why that is and how you can do this, because the thing is, the internet is a very loud place. And if people don't feel like they are being talked to, they feel like they're being talked at. When people feel like they're being talked at online, you know what they do? They just keep scrolling. They don't pay attention because they don't want to be sold. People are done. They're tired of big companies pitching them on these sales. Just buy this stuff, buy this stuff. You get 35% off, but only if you do it by this time. People don't like that. You know what they like? They like people who solve their problems. They like people who take them from where they are in the pits of hell to the promised land. They like people, they like companies that take the time to understand them, understand their concerns and questions, and present them with the solutions to those concerns and questions. So when you are identifying who your ideal client is, there's a handful of things that you're going to want to think about. And this is because you want to understand the whole person. So what is their personality type? Are they, you know, a go-getter? They're a total alpha. They can't wait to conquer the next mission. Or are they really nurturing and they just want to take care of their friends and family and they just want to make sure everybody's okay and taken care of? Or maybe they are really analytical. They got to know all the numbers. Everything's got to add up to make sense. Or maybe they're the kinds of people that are just super social, really easygoing, just want to meet all kinds of people, have fun, go to the party, take another shot, let's hang out, it's going to be amazing. Those kinds of people, right? Now, beyond the personality type, you also want to know what their buying behaviors are. Are they the kinds of people who, as an example, won't buy something even if they're interested in it until a friend of theirs tells them about it, right? Or are they the kind of person who is the first person to buy something new because it's like, oh, this is so cool. Like they get it and they're immediately like, I want to buy this. So those kinds of people are, by the way, called early adopters. So the kinds of people that something new comes out, they understand what it is and they immediately start using it because it makes sense and they don't have to wait. Or are they the kinds of people that they're only really going to buy it if they see that it's making some kind of positive difference in the rest of the world or in their community, or they have some kind of connection with the company because they see what they are doing to make everything better for everyone else. And if you're noticing what I'm saying right now, these buying habits correlate with the personality types, right? So somebody who's an alpha go-getter, usually an early adopter. Why? Because they are always looking to get the edge. Somebody who is super social, they are usually the kinds of people that will buy things, but they'll wait until they see a friend or somebody they trust saying how awesome it was. Or people who buy because of the charitable causes associated usually are nurturing people. Really analytical people, typically what they need to know is what the numbers are. They're like, hey, look, like if you show me all of the statistics on this, I'm going to buy it because it makes sense. I can mathematically do this in my head. Now, beyond personality and buying types, there are a bunch of other things you want to know. And there's really no limit to this. And the more in-depth you get, the better off you're going to be when it comes to the second part of what I'm going to jump into, which is, where do they like to hang out? What do they do for fun? What are their hobbies? What kinds of people do they associate with? Are they actively involved in their community, or do they think that the world's out to get them? Are they, politically really on one side or on the other side, or are they more moderate? Where are they at religiously? And this doesn't necessarily mean you have to use anything political or religious at all in your marketing or your advertising. And for the most part, a lot of companies do better by avoiding those. Now, if you sell Bibles, maybe you should, go for the people who believe in Christianity, right? Like that would make sense. But if you're selling a regular product or service that isn't associated with religion or politics, just understanding that will help you to understand why it is they think the way they do and how it is they interact with companies and what's important to them when it comes to buying a product or service from a company. Now, the reason you want to know these things beyond that, like what kinds of movies and TV shows, what kinds of books they read, all of these different things, because if you can get an avatar built out, just as an example, let's say we have our avatar is Bob. Bob is a 40 to 45-year-old white male who lives in Georgia. He's a Christian conservative who likes riding horses and watching Western movies on the weekends. He only buys things if a friend of his has already used it, and he hates when companies try to send him free products in order to try and trick him into buying things. There's a lot that you can learn from understanding Bob. You can say, okay, well, based off of that, we don't need to get Bob. What we need to do is we need to get his friends, because then Bob will jump in. Just as another example, let's say Anne. Anne is a 30 to 35-year-old Black female who is liberal and Christian, and she works as a high-level executive, and she is constantly on the edge of the cutting edge of new software and technology. Based off of her profile, that she is paying attention. She's looking for the next opportunity, which means when it comes to your marketing and advertising, you need to be pointing out to Anne that the best way for her to stay ahead of the game is to use your software or technology, because what it's going to do is blank, 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 and that's going to result in her getting 300% more return on her time, effort, and money. So understanding these customer avatars is the only way you can really build out profitable advertising and marketing. Otherwise, you're basically just throwing as much shit at the wall as possible and hoping something sticks. Now, the second part of this, before I jump into the second part of this, if you enjoy this or if you think this content is garbage, go ahead and throw me a comment below. Just say, yo, this is great. Or just say, hey, this is crap. Never going to watch this channel again. You suck. Either way, I'm going to enjoy it. And if you need any help, I will respond to you. And if you don't need help and you just respond with, this is crap, I'm going to respond to you too. So look, the second part of this is something that you're not going to hear a lot about in marketing and advertising, which is you need to understand yourself as the business owner, as, if you're a real estate agent or a loan officer, you're essentially running your own little business within your broker's business, or if you're the broker within the parent company's business. So as that person, you need to understand yourself, and you need to be able to say, here are the things that I am bringing to the table. Now, there's a mental tool for making this really easy. Because when I ask people this, they're like, well, I really help people out, and I help them to buy this one thing, or I help them to, and typically it's very generic. Like when I talk to real estate agents, as an example, a lot of times they're like, well, I help people find their dream home. I'm like, that's great, but everybody's got a different dream home. So what dream homes do you help people find? And they're like, I don't know what you mean. I'm like, well, what kinds of people are you working with, and what are their dream homes, and how is it that you do that better than anybody else? And they say, well, I'm really good at working in the $300,000 to $500,000 range and finding houses that most people aren't aware are on the market, or aren't on the market but are going to go on the market, and I get the deal done before it's even listed, right? So the mental tool that we use in our agency with our clients, and by the way, we charge for this, so you guys are getting the hookup. The mental tool we use is we break down what price range you're selling in, what the products are that you specifically like to be selling, and what it is that you want to see improved on in that. Now, these are all very generic things, but this last part is what's going to be the most useful for you if you're watching this right now, which is if you had achieved every single goal, every dream, every hope and desire you'd ever set out to do already. Your life, you're already done. You've got it all. You've done everything. You've got all the cars, the houses, the trips, the social circle, the happy family. And a doctor said to you, yo, you're going to die in a year, and there's nothing you can do about it. And by the way, you have to keep working. Otherwise, you're going to die in 2 months, right? So the doctor's like, yo, you either got 2 months if you stop working, or you got 12 months if you keep working. You're going to keep working, right? You're like, yo, I'll keep working if I can get that extra 10 months. So now that you know you're going to die in 12 months, what is the one thing a year from now when you pass away that you want every single customer you've ever dealt with to know you for? What is the one thing? Now, if you are in the real estate world and you haven't read this book yet, go get the book, The One Thing. I don't make any money off of telling you to do this. The One Thing by Gary Keller. It will really help you to expand on this idea. But I found that the easiest way to get about this is to assume you're going to die in a year, and you're going to have to keep on working, and there's only one thing you can be remembered for, because that gets you into a position that you start thinking about yourself and what the specific value is that you bring to the market that you can do better than anybody else. Because the thing is, as long as you're known for that, the ideal customers will be able to find you easier without you having to market, advertise over and over again. They'll find you easier, and the people you don't want to work with will ignore you, which is what you want. When it comes to marketing, you want two groups of people: the people who absolutely love you and want to buy from you, and the people who don't give a fuck about you and will never talk to you. That way you don't waste your time with those people, and the rest of your sales career, the rest of your business career, the rest of your life, you are only focusing on the people that you can have the biggest impact for. Now, when it comes to understanding yourself, when it comes to understanding what the specific value is, I ask people a lot of time and they don't know. And so here's the hardest part of what I'm sharing with you today. The hardest part isn't identifying the kind of people you want to sell to. The hardest part isn't running advertising. The hardest part isn't strategizing the marketing. The hardest part is taking time by yourself multiple times over the course of the next few months, once a week, spend an hour alone, writing out what it is that you want to do, right? So to give you an example, my mission in our agency is to make sure that nobody I come into contact with ever has boring marketing and advertising again. I've looked at over 1,000 real estate websites and 1,000 real estate social media profiles, and they're all boring. They're pictures of houses that nobody gives a damn about, that are basically just a sales pitch after sales pitch after sales pitch. And people are confused. They're like, I don't understand why people don't buy houses from me. These houses are beautiful. It's because they know you want them to buy a house. They don't need you to show them. You know what they need you to show them? What it is you can do for them. How is it that you are going to give them more of the emotions that they want to have so they can feel less of the emotions they don't want to have? And how are you going to do that in a way that differentiates yourself from the other 1,000 people who are literally just posting pictures of houses, right? If you go and look at a lot of marketing gurus, YouTubes and their programs and all this stuff, a lot of the things they're going to recommend you do are ridiculous. Go do what everybody else is doing. Look at pages that are really successful and copy them. That's great. You know why they're successful? Because they did their own thing. They differentiated themselves from everybody else. If you just go copy what somebody else is doing, you're just a copycat, and nobody has any reason to do business with you because they can get something better, because they can get the real thing instead of the Shasta Cola. Do you get that? So when it comes to putting these two pieces together, the reason why this is the most important part is because this allows you to be productive at a higher level. This allows you to spend less time with people who aren't qualified, and this improves the level of fulfillment you're going to get from the sales that you're making, because what's going to happen is you're only dealing with people that you absolutely are just in love with your clients. You just love these people beyond belief, and they are going to reciprocate that. And beyond that, the cool thing about this is people who are a certain way tend to hang out with people who are also like that. So when you identify who your ideal client is, it's not going to be hard to get referrals. They're just going to send them because they're going to say, wow, like this guy or girl is the best. Like my friend so-and-so wants to buy this, and what do I need to do? Do you want me to call them or call you or have you call them? What do I do? So having these things down is going to make your marketing and your advertising less of a headache, because then you can start strategizing. Okay, well, I know who my ideal client is. I know how they buy things. I know how they interact with brands. I know what they like and I know what they don't like. So what do I need to do to better serve them? Because look, if you're in sales, you're in the service business. Yeah, it's glorious when you make a sale and you get like a $10,000 to $20,000 commission. But the truth is, you are in the service business. People are expecting you to provide some kind of service to them, and they're expecting that it is different and it's not the same as anything else they could get. Like especially in real estate, if you're just posting pictures of houses on your social media, people can go to Zillow to find that out. Let's say you're a coffee company and all you do is post pictures of your coffee. Guess what else they could do? Just go on Google and look at the shop and just look at the pictures there. The value isn't in the product. The value is in the relationship and the experience. And when it comes to running marketing that is effective and advertising that results in sales and a positive ROI, you have to understand that people want to be treated like people, not like numbers, which is why I never talk to any of my clients about lead generation, because people are not leads. They're people. They're not just numbers. They're real people with a heart and a soul and their own beliefs and their own values, and they deserve to be treated that way. And if you don't believe that, go ahead, don't identify your ideal client, don't identify what your specific value is. Hit me up in 5 years if you're still successful. People care that they get treated like you care about them, not just about them giving you their money. Because if you take care of people, money takes care of itself.